Thank you to Manscaped for helping our podcast grow and sponsoring us. Go to Manscaped and get 20% off and free shipping worldwide with the code SFU at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code SFU. Now on with the show. Welcome to Co-op Mode, round 101. This is your official video game podcast brought to you by Secret Friends Unite. I am Todd Oxtra, one of your hosts, joined by Mark the Canardian Garabin.
Hello. How are you tonight?
You know, I'm doing good. I started my new role today, and of course, they did not know I was actually starting today, so I had nothing to do. It was the best first day ever. So I won.
Great. That's excellent.
Yes. So I'm very excited about my new role starting there, and it just
Congrats.
feels nice to going into the holiday with a new start to the year. So very good. Mark, how are you?
Pretty good. I'm feeling a little coldy, so if I sound a little stuffed up, it's because I am. I was like chugging green tea and honey right before we started recording. So hopefully my voice and throat and everything will last the entire show. So here we go.
Very, very good. And we are joined, if you are watching on YouTube, you actually already see our guest, a returning champion to the Co-op Couch, and that is Carly, aka Scarlet Stream. Carly, thank you for joining us again.
I'm happy to be back. It's been a long time, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were talking about this. It's been about a year since you've been on any of the SFU podcasts. You've been on all except for Code 47. So yeah, we always love having people come back and kind of like what's going on with their world. So what's new in the world of Carly?
Oh dear. Well, I'm getting a root canal tomorrow.
Ooh.
But in other news, no, just doing good. Continuing to work on all the business stuff. I hit my 1,000th display order for my officially licensed coin displays. Wow. So that's a big moment for me.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And like, I started this November 21st of 2022. So in just shy of 2 years, I hit 1,000 orders. So I'm like,
Amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And yeah, we're all good. Husband's fine. Kids are kids.
they are indeed.
We all know that one.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's funny, since the last time we talked to you, I think because you were in the middle of the streaming world, Stadia no longer exists, obviously, had its time in the sun. You enjoyed that platform.
Still drinking Stadia juice, though.
So have you shifted to a new streaming platform? Has there been any, or are you more dedicated on systems that are local?
So I haven't tried my hand at GFN yet, or Luna. I'm considering Luna if the controller drops down to $30 again during Black Friday. So we'll see if that happens, because they tend to run a 1 month free trying Luna Plus during that same time they drop the controller price. So if that happens, I'm probably going to get it. But I mean, I've never necessarily cared like where I played my games as long as I could play my games. So, I mean, I got the PS5, we've got the Series X, we've got the Switch, we've got, my good old Game Boy Advance if I need it. So,
hopefully with the Afterburner installed so you can actually see it, unless you have a Game Boy SP, because I did not.
No, just good old Game Boy Advance, the kind of rectangular purple one.
Oh, that's the one I had with Tony Hawk Pro Skater in my pre-order because I had to buy it with that game in it. And Fire Pro Wrestling, which I never played. Like,
right?
GameStop.
Tony Hawk for Game Boy Advance, like that, it held its own.
At ripped for just for a D-pad.
Hey, I mean, the Tony Hawk Skater games though, those weren't bad. We had that on ye old PS2, and it was like my brother loved it. So, kudos.
The soundtrack was less than impressive, though. That's the only thing I would say.
Fair.
Not exactly any rockin' tunes in that, whatever, 16-bit soundtrack, think you can make out some sounds, but oh well.
Yes.
Well, you know what? We're going to be talking about a lot of cool things in this episode. One of those things is we're going to be focused on collector's editions this whole episode. So get your collector editions ready. This is actually a collector's edition episode of the podcast. It comes with a special code that gets you nothing. It doesn't include the game. It does include a steel case, but we're only making one. So there you go.
Nerds.
Well, I will be doing one special edition sketch. If anyone would like it, let me know. It'll be on eBay in a few hours. It'll be the three of us. It'll be beautiful. Just wait for it. I'll be putting that out there later. Yeah, and it'll be an NFT as well.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. Well, we're going to start with Buy Rent Return, our favorite segment, with Collector's Edition. So I've picked 3 with no one giving me any guidance whatsoever, which is good because I'm hoping there's some hard choices to be made, or just no one cares and they're just going to pick willy-nilly. I don't care. I just like the chaos. So we're going to start here with 3 editions. Fallout 4 Pip Boy Edition. This one came with a capsule case, came with the Pip Boy, a collector's metal case, a stand, and lots of little pack-ins as well. But that Pip Boy was cool because you could put your phone in it if it fit wear it like a Pip Boy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't think it actually injured anybody when you collapsed it on, like pinched you really bad or anything.
I remember that.
Yeah. Very, very cool. And I think it had some foam just so it would fit around any wrist versus, like a big person's wrist or a small one where a small person, it would just slide down. It looked really like a bangle. That is the first one. Then we had the Call of Duty Black Ops 3 Juggernog Edition, which came with a mini fridge.
Like an Xbox mini fridge or like a Call of
Duty mini fridge.
That was that's titled with the Juggernog, like their edition looks like an old soda machine, like from the 30s or 40s, but it holds like 3 cans, I think, maybe 2 if you're lucky. Very tiny. And I owned that Xbox fridge, and I actually sold it because it was loud and didn't work very well. And then the Grid 2 BAC Mono Edition. This version of the game cost almost $200,000, but it came with a street legal race car and a suit to wear while driving it. It also had a game and a PS3 to boot. We've got a guy serious? With the car. Oh, I'm serious.
What?
Okay, wait a second. Wait.
Can you afford an edition?
Okay, that's my question though. Is this a I have to drop the money, or I can just choose to be granted any one of these collector's editions? Because the choice is going to be very clear if I have to spend $200,000 of my own money, or theoretically,
would you get a second mortgage? Would you get a second mortgage?
No. Let's just say if these were behind door 1, 2, and 3, and you just happened to get them all for free.
Right. Okay.
Let's take money out of the equation.
The car might be what it is. The car might be a rental, or you just return it. You're the guy that rents the car. Mark, you work at a car dealership,
subscription service.
I'm sure you've heard stories of people. Oh, I just want to return it. Yeah. Oh well, we'll give this one a try. Just use your imagination. We'll go where it is, but it's really based on the game. So just let you know, the game. Would you want the game? Right.
Okay.
Okay. Carly, we'll start with you. So, what would you buy? What would you rent? What would you return?
I would be returning the Grid one. I'm just not a racer game person. I liked like GTA for speccing out the cars, not for doing the racing.
Really?
Yeah. So we had like GTA 4 and 5 on the PS2 and all of that. And so it was all about making the car the best it could be, not even about running the track. Or no, not GTA, sorry. Gran Turismo.
I was wondering, I don't remember there being a lot of customization GTA.
No. Gran Turismo. I would be renting the Call of Duty, because Call of Duty has always kind of interested me, but not necessarily something that I care to play a whole lot. Also, I don't want a fridge that holds only 2 or 3 cans. That seems kind of pointless. And then I'd definitely be keeping the Fallout one. And I was actually this close to buying it when it was, announced and stuff. I actually used the companion app a lot in the game because you could quickly change out as opposed to opening up the menu in the game. It almost became more real life where you actually had to do it on your phone. And so I was using the app quite a bit as opposed to using it in the game. And so if I had had the Pip Boy, I guarantee you, I would have had that sucker on the whole time. And I would have been flipping through while people are shooting me. And it would have been glorious.
Nice.
Got to run
That's
out of
awesome.
battery life, right? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This is like, oh my goodness. My game was ruined.
Maybe modify it so that the phone can be plugged in the whole time.
That's true. Yeah. Charging cable accessory. Excellent. Excellent. All right, Mark. So Carly was more practical about this one. So Mark, you're going to be practical?
I don't think so, man. I want a free car. That's badass. And I don't like. I'm kind of with Carly here. Like I don't really like simulation racing games. Like the Forza series is probably as close as I'll get to playing a simulation, and that's still a pretty arcadey kind of game. But someone offers me a free $200,000 car. I'm like, I gotta go fast. If you're not first, you're last. Ricky Bobby. So I got to take that one.
Unless you could sell the car. There's always that too.
Nope, you can't sell the car. It's your for life.
Boo.
Nope, you're obligated to own it.
And a race car is the race car is really, really good in cold Canadian winters. So that's going to be
it gets probably like 2 miles to the gallon. It probably does. Yeah. Like you go 0 to 60 and you're like stopped. And it has no
oil rig.
And this car has no like roof, and it's one seater.
Yeah. Oh, it's a race car. It's not like if anyone.
It's like an F1 type of car.
We have to put. I'll put up an image of this in the video version. But if you're listening, this is just a straight up like race car. It does say it's street legal, but it is not a street car. Like this is a racing car with one cockpit seat. Like this is ridiculous. So the fact of owning
it's
that,
I think, highly impractical car. Okay, we got it. It's a highly impractical car.
Is it like a GoPro on it too?
You can probably
while you're driving.
It looks like it's It's so ridiculous. I need it. Okay, so then
it's like the monkey paw of cars. It's awesome, but I can't afford to drive it. And I can't sell it. That's so it's fine. Taking up my garage, and I can't let it get bad. Oh, my God.
That's fine. It's all good.
Are you going to get rid of that car?
Never.
No, honey. No, honey.
Yeah. I'm going to rent the Pip Boy Collector's Edition because I just think that's fun. And why wouldn't I want a Pip Boy on this wrist and my Apple Watch on this wrist? Because I want to be that extra. And then I would return the Call of Duty Juggernog edition because I don't need another fridge, especially not one that holds 2 cans of Diet Pepsi. And I'm already going to be showing off the greatest Call of Duty Collector's Edition later. So you have to stay tuned for that.
Okay. Very, very good.
So they're my choices. Todd, let's hear yours.
Well, just similar to you, Mark, Minnesota weather is perfect for high-performance vehicles without any roof. This car probably has no air conditioning, no heating.
Built-in air conditioning. There's no roof on it.
It just vents the heat.
Windshield.
It just vents the heat from a 900 horsepower engine at you, and you get to eat all the bugs that fly into your face. So I am not keeping this. No. And Mark, my renowned love for simulation racers. Not so much. No. So I'm returning that, of course, and it's like the monkey's paw. Like it's like when you buy a trampoline, you don't really want a trampoline. You want to get rid of the trampoline because it just means that you're going to have broken children and it's going to fly away and hit Mark's house, which is a true story.
I was about to say that sounds oddly specific.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. Yes.
Yeah. A couple weeks ago.
Oh no.
Yeah, we talked about that. I'm sure there's a follow-up, and I'd love to hear more. I'm going to keep the Juggernog, though, because you know what? I often want 2 cans of cold beverage, and they're often not 3 feet from my arm. So why not? And I'm hoping it's really loud like the Xbox one, so it can drive me insane. So I unplug it, so my beverages are never cold. Yeah. Oh, and it comes with coasters too, so why not? That's pretty nice.
Coasters.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh man, I didn't notice that. That changes everything.
Exactly. I'm sure they're made out of the highest quality cardboard.
Yeah, nothing holds up to wet liquid than cardboard.
The Fallout 4 Pip Boy Edition, I'm gonna rent because I'm not the biggest Fallout fan. I think it would be fun to play with it for a little bit, but I'm sure I would be the guy that would get a rash from it, or I'd pinch myself so bad and get a blood blister. So it's just a health safety issue. So there you go. I was a little bit more practical than Carly was, to be honest. I went warm beverages with arm reach is my goal, I guess, with owning a fridge. So there you go. Oh my goodness. There you go. So folks, let us know your thoughts on what you would buy, rent, return. I'm sure you'll make all reasonable decisions.
If you want to keep your downstairs bits in collector edition quality, you have to check out manscaped.com. And right now, support for Secret Friends Unite is brought to you. Thank you. I'm borderline halfway proud of that one. Support for Secret Friends Unite is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming. But it's not just for men. Todd, you shared an article this week that it's been tested. The ladies have tested it out and said that it's better than some competing women's focused products.
Perfectly safe and does the job.
Yeah, exactly. So it's Manscaped in name only, but it's for men, women, and anything in between. So these products are precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 6 million men worldwide who trusted Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, for our listeners, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code SFU at manscaped.com. And for Canadians like me, manscaped.ca. The code still works there. I checked it out myself, and a couple of friends checked it out as well. If my math is correct, that's about 12 million balls and counting. All happy customers. I have been super impressed with Manscaped, and with the holidays just around the corner, I'm like thinking about buying some of the stuff and sending it to friends and family for the holidays. I talked about already how much I like the Weed Whacker, especially the nose hair ear trimmer kind of thing. I use that one just in terms of practicality, probably a little bit more than the Weed Whacker in terms of regular use. And I know some people that have been looking for that. So it's a great time to think about this, not just for yourself, but for family and friends and that kind of stuff. And who doesn't want to save 20% off a holiday gift?
Exactly. Santa Balls is out there ready to get the gift to your loved ones. You want to buy one for somebody or tell them that you would like one for Christmas. Perfect way to do that. Tell them to go to manscaped.com and use code SFU. I just trimmed my noggin with my the weed whacker. It worked really well. The lawnmower, not the weed whacker. It worked really well. That light is the best part of the accessory because I can see all the little parts that I might have missed. It's great. Works really well. And then when you're ready to go, you can refresh yourself. And the crop refresher works on your head too. So eliminates some. It feels nice and feels refreshed. So I'm looking good, and my head is shiny as ever.
Excellent, good to know.
In case you ever decide to copy the look, Mark.
Absolutely.
I may leave that look to Todd, but we'll see. I might get bored someday and shave my head. I've done it before. It could happen again. Not maybe quite down to that level, but anyway, thank you to manscaped.com for sponsoring Secret Friends Unite. That's 20% off and free worldwide shipping. Use the code SFU at manscaped.com. Thanks.
Mark, you like that pause I gave until you get into the ad read? You're welcome.
Yes, that was really, I wasn't sure if you were going to introduce it. I knew I was reading it. I wasn't sure if that I was just going to segue in. We will get this eventually, I promise. But our first sponsor, first time doing ad reads in a show. So we've got to learn the flow. So again, thank you to Manscaped, and thank you to anyone listening that's thinking about ordering. It really helps us out as well. So win-win-win for everyone.
Absolutely. Well, there we go. So when you're done trimming yourself up with the Manscaped items of your choice, we're going to talk about what we've been playing. So with that, Carly, so what have you been playing?
I think that one's pretty easy. God of War Ragnarok.
We're both going to show out. Yeah.
Damn it.
Seriously, one of the coolest things. Like, I'm a geek out over this a little bit real
Sounds
quick
hefty.
because so this top part's pretty solid. It's not like too heavy that you would be uncomfortable carrying this around for a while.
So Carly is, and for those who are listening to the podcast, Carly is holding Mjolnir from God of War Collector's Edition.
Specifically God of War Ragnarok's version of Thor's hammer Mjolnir. Not to be confused with Chris Hemsworth's Mjolnir from the MCU. These are two very different renditions.
Or my tattoo.
Or his tattoo, apparently. But like, this thing is so wicked. Like, what I'm impressed about is that on the handle, this isn't just more plastic. This is actually leather wrapped.
Wow.
It's very thin leather, but like, just the fact that they even bother to make that leather as opposed to more resin or something just makes me really happy. But yeah, so my husband has been playing Ragnarok, and we've been streaming that onto our channel, scarletstream.com, by the way, if anybody wants to come say hi. So we, and I'm there the whole time, so he's my ready gamer too. And that's been enjoyable. I'm really enjoying their take on Norse mythology. I am a mythology fan. I may not be an expert, but I am a fan when it comes to mythologies like Norse, Roman, Greek, all of that kind of stuff. And so it's been really interesting seeing their interpretation of how these stories, were what they were and what they are for Santa Monica's ideas. That. And I'm still I still need to finish, now that we have officially received something about Mass Effect. I need to finish Mass Effect 3. So that is something I will be working on. But Hogwarts Legacy is in February, so I'm looking forward to that too. And I'm kind of just like,
They just had a game teaser.
Yeah, it was like a 30-second clip. And you can hear various, some people have been able to pick out various words that have been spoken by some characters, like in the background noise. Some people have interpreted symbols and things that are in the images. Yeah. And you would think, based on my name and based on my love for Pokemon, I would be playing Pokemon Scarlet or Violet. I will not be.
Oh, really?
What?
I will not be playing. I will not be supporting the Pokemon Company this time.
Oh no.
Okay,
Yes.
we need to figure this out, because I'm not a Pokemon guy.
I can
but
either
Mark
hold
is
on that for later, or I can talk about it now. But
I think we talk about this now.
Yeah, let's go. Because I was just gonna say, I am super excited. Like, I'm playing. I'll talk about the game that I'm playing, but like, I am so excited. I just finally settled on which version I'm getting. I ran a Twitter poll, a Discord poll, and my big tiebreaker was my wife was just like, why don't you just put both legendaries and let Finn decide? So I literally grabbed my iPad and was like, hey, which one do you like? And he actually thought about it for a second, then pointed to the red one, and I was like, all right, Red Dragon Scarlet, let's go. So I'm so excited. I'm sad that you're not. What's going on?
So my issue is with the company's direction for the games itself. I have been playing games from the Pokemon Company since Crystal. I didn't get Yellow and that because that was more for my brother. He was a little bit older than me. I started with Crystal. I have been playing for nearly the whole 25 years that the Pokemon franchise has like existed, and the games have not grown up with me. They are the exact same story path. They are the exact same kind of characters. You got basically the same villains every single time. And there's no actual growth to fit for, you know, our generation, so to speak. And even, you know, there's some people in the generation before us and older and everything, and they enjoyed it just as much as we do. And you know, they're tired of it as well. And so I'm frankly just disappointed. And I was so excited at first when they said, you know, there's going to be 3 different paths that you get to choose. And so I was like stoked. I was like, is this going to be my dream? Because my dream is to be able to take the champion's path, as is the regular thing to do. You take on the gyms, you become the champion, blah, blah, blah. That is an understandable staple to the game. But I also want a path where I can become a breeder, where I can, you know, work on people come to me and they're like, I want a Pokemon that has this move set or this kind of coat or this kind of look, so that maybe they then take that to the kind of showman's path. And so that would be your third path, is the showmanship. Because those have always just been kind of like side things. Like, yeah, you could take 2 Pokemon to the daycare center and maybe you would get lucky and something would happen. And there'd be the occasional show thing at every town, but it was like just the one time really, or you would just repeat the exact same thing over and over. But neither of those were fleshed out. It's like Pokemon is so much more than battling. Detective Pikachu was one of my most favorite movies because it explored a side of Pokemon that hasn't been explored really. That movie was phenomenal. and I don't know, I need the Pokemon company to realize that they can't just keep catering to the next 12-year-old every year, because eventually parents are probably going to stop buying it for their kids and the adults aren't going to be playing. Like, if they want to keep this main kind of thing going, fine. But you also need to cater to those who have been around for the whole 25 years. And they're not doing it, which made me so upset also, because I was like, this is literally perfect for my gamer name, because I am Scarlet and I always use a violet heart in all of my emojis. And I was going to get Violet because I really liked the way is it Miraidon who is the violet one? Yeah. And I liked the professor better in Violet. I was a bit sad because Tyranitar is only for Scarlet. So I was like, I'm going to need a buddy who I can trade with. And then I was like, oh, Mark, but I'm still not getting the game.
Gotcha.
And my husband and I, we did like a whole Wix site on what the Pokemon Company should do in order to, you know, keep both groups, keep the younger people and keep the older people. And they're just not, they don't seem to care beyond maybe the card decks to make a video game or something for the older audience.
Can I play devil's advocate for a second?
Sure.
Because you know me and my Pokemon extensive knowledge. Other companies typically kind of dual hat, and they said, you know what, we're going to have a younger audience, we're going to have an older audience. I think of Batman, right? We got the cute Batman, and then we got the serious Batman, because they want to continue to please audiences. Somebody tells me Pokemon to a lot of people, it's comfort food. It's not exactly cutting edge. It's the number 1 franchise in the world, which means they have the most amount of money to do things and take chances, and they produce a lot of games every year. Is that, to your point, Scarlett, it sounds like they feel like they're kind of just comfortable doing what they do, and they're not comfortable with like really pushing the boundaries and taking chances, and they evolve versus do revolutions and steps. And my son, who's 17, he's one of those people like, yeah, Pokemon just feels the same, and it's not exactly doing anything really to drive like that next level of like, wow, Pokemon could be so much more, but they're comfortable with not spending a lot of money, not really taking a lot of chances, and when they do something different, they don't always incorporate into the next series. They like, oh, that's what they do. And it's like Pokemon Snap. They just like, oh, we're bringing it back. We're going to do a little bit more. But we do just enough because we can make $3 million or 3 million copies or whatever. Is that what the company feels to be doing, because to me, it feels like that's what they're doing. They're comfortable with doing just enough to make a lot of money, and they do a little bit, and they want to keep their hardcore fans, which are now like Mark's age, I guess. You'd be like the core people, right, Mark? And you like the heritage. You like that type of feel. It makes you feel very nostalgic and you feel very good. Whereas Arceus felt like the one that took the most strides, but they didn't really say, oh, we're going to do everything with Arceus. What we learned, we're going to incorporate in their game. It kind of felt like they said, that's for other people, but we want to keep our hardcore happy. Is that what it is? I'm just trying to guess because I have no horse in the race.
I personally enjoyed Arceus. Dang it, the dang TV show now has
not Arceus, right?
And it drives me nuts because Arceus sounds so much better than Arceus. But anyway, I actually enjoyed Arceus quite a bit because it was more open and it was exploratory and actually trying to understand Pokemon, not just tossing them into battles and training them or whatever. We actually had to, study them and understand what are their routines and catch them doing certain things. That was a lot of fun for me. It was a side of Pokemon that we hadn't explored before. And it felt a little bit more grown up. Yeah, because, your character is not just this 12-year-old punk who's like, I'm not going to go to school anymore. They're like, I'm going to actually, sure, they got kind of kidnapped by Arceus, but everything was fine at the end. But it felt a little bit more grown up, more exploration, more understanding, not just toss out another Pokemon. It's like, oh, well, I know fire beats grass, so I'm going to always put out my Typhlosion, but my Typhlosion can also beat literally every Pokemon in the game because he's level 100. And yes, the Pokemon Company is just, they're comfortable and they're complacent. And that's frustrating. It's like, you have built this up for 25 years and you're telling me you don't want to try to do more. Like, there's only so far that nostalgia is going to take them. There's only so far that doing almost the exact same game is going to take them. They can't keep doing baby steps every game. They need something almost as revolutionary as Breath of the Wild was, as Odyssey was for Mario.
This kind of seems to me like they're kind of stepping in that direction. It's the first completely open world Pokemon. Like Arceus was a step in that, but you still kind of had to teleport to different locations and go back to the hub and go from there. This is Breath of the Wild style full open. Like, this is the first time we've seen.
It's not the open world part that made Breath of the Wild great. It was kind of everything else as well. You could explore everywhere, but it's what you could find while you were exploring. This feels like it's open world and you can explore everywhere, but it's still the same thing of beat everybody up. You're not actually learning more of it. And maybe as the game, people talk more about the game, maybe something will come out and be like, oh, wow, I didn't know that was going to be a thing. But that's also part of the marketing issue. It's like they said here's 3 new paths, but really it's just the 3 paths you basically already do in every game, and they're just making them more separate.
Yeah, I will agree that the marketing for this game hasn't been fantastic, and that's why I just ended up picking which version I'm getting this morning, because my brother and I have been talking about this. We always since Red and Blue, we've always gotten the opposite versions of Pokemon, and sometimes I'll choose and I'll say, I really want this one. And sometimes he'll choose. And for this one, I said, like, you kind of make a decision, but we've been talking back and forth for months. And it's like, well, I kind of want to see which exclusives are going to be in which version. And I kind of want to see, there was the time travel element that was kind of rumored. And I think that's going to be more of like the legendary Pokemon.
Paradox or something like that.
Yeah, the Paradox versions. So I think that's kind of what it's going to be, which isn't quite as like, at one point it was kind of rumored like you would actually go back in time or forward in time, or like they would be set at different time periods. So you can almost play these, 2 separately if it was that. But it seems like it's just going to be like, oh, the Pokemon looks like it used to way back in ancient times, or this Pokemon looks like a techno version of that. But it's been like out in trickles or leaks or whatever, and it's been very difficult to gauge how different this game's going to be. So I'm looking at it a little bit more positively. I'm looking at it like maybe this is Breath of the Wild. Maybe I will be able to climb up this mountain and glide to this other location and find something like I did in Breath of the Wild and be like, oh man, did you find this? Or did you find that? Or jump into my game. You got to see what I just, located. Or this, I found a nest where these rare Pokemon are or something. Come on over. I'm hoping it's like that. Now, if it is just a base kind of Pokemon game, like to Todd's point, like I play Pokemon to feel like I'm 10 again or whatever, 12. Like that's my Pokemon is my childhood escapism. The same reason I go back and play Super Mario World or Super Mario Brothers 3 or whatever. Like it's that kind of like, I turn my brain off, I catch my Pokemon, I do my thing, and I have my fun. If I wanted something more deep than that, like I don't remember the last time I really got so into a Pokemon game that like I had to catch every single Pokemon in the game, or I had to complete 100% of whatever. I think the closest I came to that was maybe Brilliant Diamond. Mm-hmm. And that was just because I picked at it over the course of time. It was like, oh damn, I'm really close to like completing the Pokedex here. And then I still didn't. I still kind of like flit it off and
Arceus was the one where I consider myself completed. The last one I needed was actually Arceus, but he's impossible, so I just considered it a win.
Right.
But here's the question then to what you've been saying. So you said you go back and you play, older Mario games because that, that's fun for you. And I totally understand. I'm playing like Super Mario Bros. Like all the time. So here's the question then. It's like, are you playing the new Pokemon games just because it's new and there's, maybe new Pokemon to catch? Or are you like, as opposed to like, what's stopping you from going back and just playing the older Pokemon? Like I played Crystal 20, 25, 30 times, right?
We've got a prop coming in. Prop incoming.
But I like
literally nothing stopping me from playing my old Pokemon games.
Sure. So I guess my question is, it's like,
right there.
There's been, a lot of new Mario games, right? There you go.
Yeah. It has batteries in it because I was playing this recently.
Nice. There's been, a lot of new Mario games. I don't know. There's something, the Mario games, and maybe this is because they're Nintendo, and Nintendo actually knows how to pull in even the older generations as they're making something for the newer generations. I've played Odyssey and I love it. My 9-year-old has played Odyssey and she loves it. And there's, a 20-year gap between us. So I don't know. It's just, but Pokemon still feels like it's constantly only for the 10 to 12-year-olds, except for Arceus actually felt, a little bit more like an older teenager person game. I don't know.
Yeah, my son liked Arceus quite a bit. And he played the old games on the, I guess, which I'm trying to remember which, I think we had a DS that he played. Then we got the 3DS and he played a lot of those. So he loved those, and then Arceus was like, oh, I like this, but he felt it was limited by the hardware. And he's always complaining like the animations in Pokemon suck. It's like they don't spend amount of money to make it the way it should be. And he's like, why are they so lazy? I'm like, because Logan, people buy the game regardless of what they do. It's like, it's ultimately, that's where I ambition from a game company feels like they don't have ambition. And that's where I just worry about Pokemon is all. I mean, in regards to grow their brand and things like that, they don't have to do much to get people to be excited about their products, which is just weird.
Though, that will only last so long.
But it's lasted like 25 hours.
It's lasted 25 years so far.
But that doesn't mean it's going to be another 25 years. That could end in 3 or 4.
Well,
that could end fairly soon. Because like, I'm not even kidding. Like we're like my kids played Sword and Shield. They watched us play Arceus, and then we got the remakes of Diamond and Pearl because we're like, oh, these are ones we hadn't played, my husband and I. So we're like, we want to actually check these out and see what's what they are, because a lot of the older games just kind of missed out on. But like, we're not getting Scarlet Violet. I mean, maybe if it goes on for like a $20 sale or something. So it's like, what about the next one? Are we just not going to buy that one too? And so then that's now our entire household is just no longer Pokemon gamers.
I'm curious
how many other people are the same way.
Well, okay, so you say you're definitely not. We've kind of established that the marketing hasn't been great. So 2 weeks time, I come back on. I'm like, this is the Breath of the Wild of Pokemon. They didn't market this because they didn't want to give away how massive this is. They wanted to just kind of tease it, get people to play it, whatever. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. It reinvents how the series goes. Are you reconsidering, or are you like, I've made up my mind already? I've seen 5 minutes worth of trailers and I'm not buying this game ever.
Considering that
$20.
you and I have already had a good rapport about Breath of the Wild, and I know that you've enjoyed it as much as I have, that then becomes a very real, like, what's the word I'm trying to say? That becomes a very useful thing for you to say to me, and I will then heavily reconsider.
Okay.
Like, if you actually came back and could truly say, this is the Breath of the Wild of Pokemon, I am like 95% there.
Okay.
But
all right.
you know, I mean, if you came back and you're just like, yeah, you know, this is just another,
It's more Pokemon.
You know, it's just more Pokemon, and be like, okay, well, then I'm not really missing out on much. And that's kind of the thing. I'm not afraid of missing out on anything this time around. Like Arceus, that one actually intrigued me because I was like, this is new. This is different. This is something I want to experience. Whereas like Scarlet Violet's like, I could go watch my friend play it on their live stream.
Right.
I am curious because unfortunately they typically the reviewers that review the games are the people that are most likely to play the games. So I always worry about, like, is a Pokemon fan going to be really, really like critical, or that? I mean, I hope they would be, you know, like the reviewers, but I always feel like you got the group that always reviews the JRPGs or something. They're not, and I always feel like JRPGs, I feel like those games get a bump because a lot of people are just not as critical because they don't see the flaws, because they like the genre so much versus like, is this really a good game, or do you just like this style of game? So I'm curious to see where, to your point, Mark, just like, because I know a lot of people that were like Breath of the Wild of, which is a new term, of course. But I think a lot of people outside of Zelda that were just tired of the formula looked at them like, wow, that's a different take. So I do worry with this. I don't think it's going to be that way. I think it's just going to be little iterations again, just from my outside perspective. And they have done a lot of publicity, but it seems like people are still feel like, I don't know a lot about this game. So I'm like, I guess they just feel like they don't have to tell you because there's a new Pokemon game and there's 114 million
it's the
Switches.
New iPhone, so just buy it anyway.
Yeah. There'll be like a new camera that's a little bit better, and you're good to go, and maybe a cloud or whatever, the island or whatever. So that's what I'm thinking with this game, because I think if it was truly revolutionary, they wouldn't sit on it. They're not dumb. They're marketers. They're like, this is the biggest Pokemon in the world, and also the hardware could be holding it back too from what they want to do, because the Switch is now going on, 6 years? So we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah. So.
But again, we had Breath of the Wild, which wasn't graphically the most amazing thing you've ever seen, but it was a beautiful game. It was the artistic style of it that made it look great. Whereas all of the Pokemon games, I mean, even Arceus had this issue, it was very kind of polygonal in a way and just flat. Like, there's ways to do a lower hardware system and still have a great looking game. I mean, even Odyssey is, it's just a bunch of 3D. It's not like it's high definition, super realistic Mario's nose or something. It's just, that's what the style is. But their style is not pleasing.
Well, we'll see how that goes. I mean, I'm curious because my son, I think he's looking to get back into it. He just wants the right Pokemon game to do that because he's been playing Terraria for like 18 months. And I want him something to do other than play freaking Terraria. Oh, my God.
Put him on Tunic.
He played a little bit of Tunic. So, yeah.
Tunic is great.
Yeah. So with that, Mark, you talked a little bit about Rabbids plus Mario before, but you didn't really get into it. So I'm assuming you've been really focusing on that game.
I really have, yes. This is pretty much all I've been playing, aside from trying to catch up on a little bit of Fortnite.
Yep.
Yeah, the new
Sparks of Hope.
Awesome. Sparks of Hope. Like I mentioned last time, this was given to me as a review code from our friends at Ubisoft Canada, and I have been playing the heck out of this. It is pretty amazing gameplay-wise. And I was just talking to Cheesy, who's been on this show just a few episodes ago. And there's something missing from the magic of the first game. Oh. Which and he kind of summed it up on Twitter and said something along the lines of, I'm just going to try to bring up his quote so I don't get this wrong. Because because he said there's something missing. And I said I tend to agree. There's just a little bit of magic. Like, it's still one of my favorite gaming experiences of the year. Like, probably going to be in my contender of my favorite game of the year. And we'll see what Pokemon does to that, or I have to really go back and think about it before we do our like game of the year kind of stuff. But he said, yeah, it's a great game. The charm of the first game was seeing the Rabbids' interpretation of the Mushroom Kingdom. And, you know, that we're so familiar with. This game is more about the Rabbids. They're already established. And he said, I'm not as invested. And I think that might be it. Like, it was so new and so novel the first time.
It's a hard thing
so
with
unexpected. It's hard to capture that same sense of like wonder and like, why are the Rabbids in with Mario characters? Why are they in the Mushroom Kingdom? What is going on here? That first one was just so magical that I think it was almost an impossible task to copy that this time around. Like I said last time, I'm still a little thrown off by the Rabbids having voices. I kind of prefer my Rabbids more minion-y, like they were in the first game, just like not talking, just these non-verbal gibberish monsters that kind of look like Mario characters. But that's a choice that they made. It's not really taking away from the game. I just prefer it the way that the first game. So I don't know if that's playing into the loss of magic feeling or something. However, this game is just technically fantastic. It is a beautiful game to begin with, but just the gameplay loop, the exploration, the little hidden things in every little corner. There's like wildlife and different things to interact with. Every time you think you understand a mechanic, they introduce a new one. There's new enemy types, new boss types. The boss battles change from one to the other. You think you finish one, and then there's another iteration and another iteration of the same boss battle. There's a ton of strategy that you can mix up using different team members. Sometimes it forces you to use different team members, so you get to play with everyone. And just when you think you have something figured out, they're like, well, here's something new for you, so go enjoy that. Like when they introduced Bowser, I thought I kind of had my team, and then Bowser joins your team, and it's like, oh, okay, so who am I going to swap out for this explosive tank of a person? Like, let's go. And there's enough customization too, like that it's not overwhelming. You can just press Y and it just automatically, gives your experience points where it thinks you should. But like, there's enough customization that you can be like, okay, I want Luigi to be able to cover the most ground possible because he's a sniper, and I want him to be able to like get in good strategic locations. So I need to like maximize his reach and his distance and that kind of stuff.
Mark, the fact that you just said that Luigi is a sniper just blew my brain.
I know.
What? Luigi Mario was a sniper. He had to go off to war in the Mushroom Kingdom War. We never saw him again. He was MIA, KIA. We don't know.
He's green, so maybe he's got a ghillie suit. So.
Who told Mama Mario that Luigi's not coming back?
Not only is he a sniper, but he snipes using what looks like a Nerf bow and arrow. And it is so great as someone who had a Nerf bow and arrow as my like favorite toy weapon thing growing up. It's fantastic. Every single one of the characters has like a different weapon type. Like Bowser shoots these explosive rockets and has just things that blow up everywhere. And it's so satisfying. Luigi's a sniper. Rabbid Peach heals the team. So she's great at healing, but also has these volleys of rockets that kind of go over cover, which is fantastic. It is such a great game. I am absolutely in love with the gameplay loop and the strategy and just how deep it goes while having this cute candy coating of still like exploring Mushroom Kingdom-esque kind of places, but it's new locations. It's contender for my game of the year right now. I'm not quite finished with the game, but in a good place that I feel I can confidently say that like this is, it's up there. So
this
it's awesome. I'm gonna finish it probably in the next week or so. I'll probably have it finished before we have our next episode. But super impressed with Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Pick it up, check it out. It's not going to disappoint.
That seems like a franchise. If Nintendo was not involved, I feel like it wouldn't get the polish or attention to really make it a better game. I really think that collaboration is what sets it apart, because it was just, and it's not just because of its Rabbids. I mean, let's be honest. I think it's because Nintendo, when they act as a producer, because they don't always develop their games, they produce a lot of games because they bring on other studios. I think they bring their mindset in the just tweak this enough or just do that enough. I think that really elevates games and simple mechanics to make it better. So I think this is a synergy that really works really well. And I would love to see Nintendo do with this more of their franchises, to be honest, bring in other developers to make more of their things, because they're hesitant to do a lot of other franchises right now. Like Donkey Kong hasn't been seen in years outside. Yeah. So like, hey, bring in a good studio and have Nintendo produce it, I think would be a great synergy to really bring out more of their content. But yeah, I want to love this game, but it's just not for me. The style, regardless. And everybody says, you want an XCOM game with this? I'm like, I've never liked an XCOM game, and even this with the charm and everything, it's still just not for me. But I know they did some things where they changed up the field, and it's not exactly turn-based, or you're limited in your number of spaces you can move, which in XCOM you are. So I'm glad to see they make changes. Maybe they can, I assume there'll be a third game if this does well. I think it was like 6 on the NPDs this month, so which is pretty good.
It's good for a console exclusive too,
and it's not exactly like I said. It's not exactly like just a 3D Mario or something like that. It's a tactical game, so there is still barriers to, like, you may not like that style of game. So, but still, for it to do that well, because how many other tactical games are in the top 10? Not many, right? Just this one, probably.
It's definitely like there are some. There was just a normal fight, like not even a boss, a normal fight in a very early stage that I was like maybe level 5 or 6, and I stumbled upon this kind of like, I was exploring, maybe been someplace I maybe shouldn't have been that early, and came across like a level 10 bad guy and figured like, I've been playing games for a while. I can do this. What's a level 10 Goomba gonna do? Even if I'm level 5 or 6 or whatever. I got my ass handed to me like 3 or 4 times before I was like, maybe I should not be here.
Yep.
And I bounced out and came back when I was level 10 and was like, now who's getting it handed? Like, you guys, like, so your level, like it, but like the game is not afraid to just be like, not yet. You got to think about this one. So it's definitely like, despite its colorful appearance, this is not like baby's first Mario game or like even baby's first tactical game. Like this game, you have to be ready to think strategically and see the entire battlefield and know weakness types and what kind of strategy works. And like, even your shot order. So like I said, Luigi is a sniper, you can set up things where like you hit someone with a move and have Luigi up top kind of with, the ZR button or ZR or whatever. Will kind of do this thing where he watches the whole field, and whoever moves, that's who he hits. So you can set something up where you'll light someone on fire and they'll come out of cover, and then he'll hit them again. And you get that 1-2 punch kind of thing. You can set things up, and it's like, those kind of things are so satisfying, but you really need to be able to see that whole battlefield in the big picture and think strategically. So it's not like hand-holdy, press A and you're going to win. Like, you really got to play this game. It's a thinker. It's amazing. I love it.
Very, very cool. Yeah. For me, I'm going to touch on God of War at the very end, because I want to add on to what Carly talked about. But I played Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the campaign. I'm not done. I've got probably about a couple more missions left. But this game, if you own a next-gen console, it's beautiful. It's amazing. And I've gotten to the point where if a game is on Xbox, because I own a Series X and I own a PlayStation, if it's on PlayStation 5 and I get it, I play it there, because the DualSense, I think, is a game changer that people are just not talking about. It makes the games feel better. It's just something that you don't have. I don't care about the resolution, because there's not much difference between the consoles. There's features, yes, but I think when you're playing the game, actually, that's where the DualSense really is a differentiator, I think. I think the fact that it's really being integrated in a lot of games and make me feel good. The sound from the speaker, the feel of the weapons, the hold on, the haptic feedback, also the actual triggers, the resistance. It's fantastic. And I think that is what we need in games. We need more differentiators versus frames per second, things like that. And that's what this is bringing. So I love it. And I think Call of Duty really has a great example. It has great sounds. It looks beautiful. And I just love this is just essentially a dumb action flick, but I love it because we don't get many of these that are so well done. They're like a 6-hour campaign, and it's just a lot of fun, and they look wonderful. This is like a showcase for next gen, and it's wonderful. So I don't play the multiplayer; it's just not for me. But I play the campaign. This is like my Fast and Furious, because I don't watch those movies, but this is my Fast and Furious. I'm like, what's going to happen next? The Russians are working with the cartels, which are working with all these different things to bring. They're just doing crazy things, and they're bringing back classic characters like Soap and Ghost and things like that. It's just really well done. I love it. I love the weapons, the things you can do. It's just really wonderful. So I can't say enough about it. I really enjoy it. Sean Capri was playing. He said, like, I love it at the beginning, and then it fell off the cliff. I'm not at that point yet. I hope it doesn't happen, but it was a rental, so I don't feel like I've lost $70. I'm just playing campaign. But I would say if you are going to spend $70 on a game and you don't play the multiplayer, this is definitely not a good game to spend $70 for a 6-hour experience. But maybe you do. That's when maybe you want to spend your money that way. But I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Thanks, GameFly. I'm probably like one of 10 people that use GameFly, but I love the service. So it's great. Love it. Check it out. It's definitely a lot of fun. But God of War Ragnarok. So, Carly, we kind of bookending this. So you played it. I am about.
We're pretty close to the end too.
Okay, I am not.
Based on our feelings of how the story is going to go, we feel like we're pretty close to the end of this. Like pretty close, as in like we probably got like another 10 hours of story left.
Okay, so I don't want to do spoilers, but I do want to say to let you know who I've met, where I'm at. Mm-hmm. I've met Tyr. And I am still, and I'm going to visit some elves. That's all I'll say. That's where I'm at. So I'm still pretty early, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's pretty early on.
Yeah, so my gameplay time is kind of crazy. But I have been enjoying the game so much. The feel of the game.
It only gets better.
And that's what I've heard. And a lot of people say there's, and I've heard this warning, like there's something that happens about 12 hours in with some livestock, I think is what they said.
Livestock.
Like an ox or something like that. And they said, it kind of derails, but then it gets back. I don't know. That's what I heard. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait for the livestock to derail me. Maybe it's like a term for something else. I don't know.
Maybe. But I don't know what they're referencing there.
Yeah. But I'm just having a blast. It just feels so good. And people say it just feels like more of the same. But when you talk about one of the best games ever made, and it's more of the same, I'm all in. And they are doing more to drive the mythology. They're driving more to drive the story, the relationship. Atreus is now, I don't know, 15 maybe?
Yeah, so because it's been almost the entirety of Fimbulwinter, which lasts for 3 years, based on Norse mythology. So it's been almost the entirety of all of that. So he's about 2.5 years older at this point. So yeah, he's 15-ish. And you can even tell, like, there's a point.
His voice.
Yeah, there's a point where you hear his
thing.
voice from the first game, and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't even realize, like, how different it was.
Oh, yeah. Going from that, like, 12-year-old to a 15-year-old, to your point.
Yeah.
My son is 17. When we were playing, he would have been 14. So we're kind of in that mindset, and it's like, it's my relation to my son that informs me of, like, this is what they're like. They are trying to become little humans and then becoming bigger adults. And it's that striving for identity and having their own resolve, which is amazing as a parent to see your kids grow. Same thing here. And it's just amazing to see this journey of this character with Kratos, and just you see him at points.
Kratos' growth too.
Oh,
My
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding you. This only gets better.
Well, you just see points where Kratos looks like he's about to say, shut the hell up, but he doesn't. He holds back. His muscles tense up. Like, I'm holding myself back, and you've got Mimir, who's essentially like his Jiminy Cricket. And Mimir, Mark, is one of the best characters in gaming of all time. He is fantastic. He is always with you. He's always telling you stories. If you're in a boat, he's going to tell you a tale. And then when you're getting off the boat, because you're doing other things, he'll say, I'll come back to that later. And it's so well done.
That.
And Mark, yes. I know you have not played 2018, but it's a must-play game. It's one of the best all time. And I definitely recommend you play it because I just feel like it nails the gameplay and the story like no other game ever. And I always felt like I wish Zelda could do storytelling like this, because I think Breath of the Wild is a great gameplay, but it just lacks so much in the actual like narrative and storytelling that I feel like unless you really loved like the experimentation, things like that, I feel like it's just a mechanics game that's fantastic and it's got good artwork. But I think that's where I wish that Nintendo would go. So I really hope they take examples, because Miyamoto's always like watching things, and like I finally put voice acting in there. I'm just hoping the next one is like, you know what? I like voice acting so much and I like storytelling. I'm going to do that because I feel like that's what I want in my gaming. I just want compelling storytelling that just really makes me feel like, wow, video games can be so much more than just hitting buttons and getting cool effects from it. So that's where I'm at. I'll get off my my box right now, but I just am really loving this game. And the fact that this game sounds to be a much bigger experience than the last one, especially the side quests. And I've heard the side quests are phenomenal, which means that I'm going to be playing this game for a long time, probably until January, probably.
So some fun things. I don't know if you've been watching their behind the lore little episodes that they've been doing every Tuesday, but they bring up that they had the option of splitting this game in two, so making it a 3-parter, or really condensing and just kind of making the story the most impactful it could be and making it one game. While of course 3 games would bring them more money, they were more interested in the story that they wanted to tell. So this is, if you want to 100% the game and like, you know, do all the side quests or something, this is like a 60-hour, 70-hour game. Because we also tend to take our time, so it'll probably be like 80 hours or something. But like, the side quests are just tons of fun too. And you find a lot of really neat stuff with them. So like, they're almost necessary. And it's just fun getting these like other side stories as well. You learn more about the characters who join your party. You learn, like, you just get all this nuance that's in it as well. This is a game about family and friend relationships. Like, yes, there's fighting and there's gods and demons and whatevers, but this is a story that's based around family and love and forgiveness. Like, you wouldn't think that considering what Kratos looks like. But this game, this story, like, even in the opening 2 seconds, you look at Kratos and the pain that you can sense in his posture. And even though he's not a facially expressive person, the pain that you can read on his face, because he's thinking about, from the first game, how he lost his wife. And it's so brilliant.
Yeah. I was tempted to put some like makeup on my face.
You should
because I grew a little beard, but you can't really tell because I don't really grow a beard. But yeah, and I'm wearing my God of War shirt and I have my God of War background, folks. If you're watching the podcast on YouTube, please do. But Joseph, if you want to see somebody dress up like Kratos, Joseph Moran in the PS Trophy Room, holy cow. And yeah, he committed to it. Baby powder and stinged his eyes. He was all into it. So check out the PS Trophy Room if you want to see somebody really embrace that. But yeah, I can't say enough. I got the collector's edition. Carly got the Jotunheim edition.
I got the Jotnar edition. Yep.
Yeah. So essentially more stuff, cloth maps and extra things. We'll talk about that next. But just I can't speak highly enough. And this game is on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. I've not heard anybody say the PlayStation 4 version is trash, which is good. It just is amazing on PlayStation 5. So there you go. I'll be talking more about this game.
They made really good use of the DualSense controller, in my opinion, as well. Like, I personally haven't done a whole lot because my husband's the one who's been playing. But a couple of times he'll be like, can you just look around for the thing that I'm needing to find? I gotta go get something real quick. And so, I'll look around and you can just, the little extra audio stuff that comes from it, the feeling of like throwing the axe and catching it, you feel it as you catch it on the controller, and it's really, the DualSense is one of the greatest things that PlayStation has done. And they incorporated it very well for this game.
Yeah, and if you want it, there's a special edition controller you can find out there for as well. I did not get it. Oh well. Well, we were going to talk about some news this week, but I think we've gone a little bit long, so we're going to skip that. We'll talk about that probably next episode when we talk about as we get closer to the Game Awards. We'll get a little bit more into that next episode. But we want to really get to the bonus round, and this is the Collector's Edition. So we already talked about what's in the Collector's Edition of this show, which I said my sketch is coming out for that. But we're going to talk about a couple different areas of Collector's Edition, the best and the worst, what makes a good Collector's Edition, and what would be in our personal Collector's Edition. Like, if there was a Todd Collector's Edition, what would be in it? What would be in a Mark's Collector's Edition, and what would be in a Carly's Collector's Edition? So let's get started. So the best and the worst Collector's Edition. I'm going to name some off, and if you think of some, let me know. So I just found some that were very, very funny. So one of the worst and most infamous is, do you remember the oh my goodness, this one is just so bizarre. It was the Dead Island 2 Torso Edition. It was horrible. I had a bloody torso of a bikini, like zombie, and they made it a special collector's edition. I'm like, what are you doing? People called it out. I mean,
it's just a no.
It's a huge no. I'm like, what are you doing? It's so bizarre.
Because, like, I mean, it's one thing for, like, to have the leg lamp from, like, Christmas Story. That
exactly.
old movie is. Because that's like, it's a sexy leg and
fragile.
Stuff. Like, yes, yeah. I want a bloody torso with a bikini top on, sitting on my shelves. Thanks, guys. No.
Does it do it? It's not a lamp or anything, is it? Like,
no, it's just a torso.
It just sits there.
Was it at least fleshy, or was it just?
I don't know if it was squishy. I hope people weren't trying. Is it squishy enough? Is it like that Metroid that you? Yeah.
I don't know if it being squishy would make it better or worse.
And apparently, apparently there was a Dead Island Riptide where it was a zombie butt. So there you go. Apparently they didn't shy away from like appendages.
Sure.
Folks.
I mean, it couldn't just be a giant's toe. Whatever.
Sure. A hand, an arm, like Left 4 Dead where they had like the fingers that came down. Yeah.
That's just a flat no for me.
Yeah. So that's one of them. One of the better ones though was you got a Claptrap. With Borderlands, the Handsome Collection, which I think is cool because I mean, little Claptrap, he spoke, and now if you want to find it, it's going to be $500.
Is it a character or something?
Oh yeah, he's like the little guy with one wheel. He's very funny. He has a voice, and this special edition came with like a little, like a 4-inch version where he would, or maybe a little taller, but it would say things. But yeah, I'm a big fan of that one. There was the Gears of War Ultimate Edition. Essentially, was a character on a motorcycle. It came with a steel case. It cost around $250. So I mean, that's a big barrier to entry. Titanfall 2 got a cool collector's helmet along with the Halo's 3 cat helmet. I think you remember that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then we had this one was kind of lame. Mass Effect Andromeda had a vehicle, the Nomad. It actually was just a vehicle. It didn't do anything. It wasn't a remote control vehicle.
It was just a model.
It's just a model but it was like more like you could push it and it would go like a Hot Wheels, but it wasn't like a remote control RC. For like $250, I think I would need it to be more than that. Yeah, the one that was funny was the Crysis 2 Maximum Graphics Edition. It essentially came with a graphics card. Okay, because they're like, Crysis will break your system, so it came with a graphics card.
Huh.
That's kind of clever.
I mean, at least that's useful.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a PC that could actually work in it, why not? Yeah, that was the whole thing. Other than that, I mean, there's a lot of statues and things that I've seen that are pretty cool. I mean, we did, and Mark, you're probably going to talk about a couple others, but one of the other ones that I thought was really cool was the Beatles Rock Band Special Edition. So essentially was Rock Band, but it was based around all of the Beatles special instruments.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it was pretty limited when it came out. And now to find it, and if you're a big Rock Band fan, to find alternate instruments now or replacement instruments, they're hard to find. And this set it's about $700 now.
Yeah, it's
on
like
eBay.
impossible.
Yeah, yeah. So from there, anybody else have any thoughts around collector's edition, the good and the bad?
Well, first, I'm going to read a couple that wrote in on our Discord channel, including this first one from the Winter Gamer, which I loved this story and this special edition. So I'll read this first and said, I think my favorite has to be the Breath of the Wild special edition, where I ended up getting 2 from GameStop, even though I ordered 1 and they charged me for 2. So I reached out to Bobby Pauls, and met up with him to sell it to his friend Miguel. But my Majora's Mask 3DS is my favorite special edition of all time. That's a more special edition console kind of thing. But I loved the Breath of the Wild special edition. It's still my go-to Switch case.
I have that too.
It was such a great special edition because you got the Switch, you got the game, and then you got the accessory that you needed in a case. So it was kind of like that day one kind of all-in bundle. My biggest problem with it is I wish there was an option to go digital with it because it's one of those games that I just want it always on there just in case I ever want to dive back in or whatever. And, I've gotten a few physical games, especially after my wife got a Switch. And if it wasn't a game we were going to be playing at the same time, we'd get one copy and kind of trade it back and forth or whatever. Mm-hmm. So Breath of the Wild ended up getting taken out of my Switch, and then you got to put it back. And it's a pain in the butt, right? It's so much more convenient to just have it digitally. So that would be my only gripe, but this is still my go-to Switch case. And I have to say, I do love that one as well, Brennan. So thank you. We also got Famous Seamus writing in with, I only have 2 special editions, and that was Persona 5 Royal Phantom Thieves Edition and The Last of Us Part 2 Elliot Edition.
That was probably a statue, I assume.
Okay.
Ellie.
If I had to choose a favorite, Ellie Edition maybe, yeah. It would be Persona 5. I think the Ellie edition. Oh yes, sorry, it was a typo in that first bit. Sorry, Seamus. So the Ellie edition, yes, had some stuff I'll never use, like the vinyl soundtrack and the backpack. Meanwhile, Phantom Thieves edition has things like the art book, a Joker mask, and a soundtrack, which is all useful stuff. I used to love the soundtrack thing, and now it's a little lessened with Apple Music and Spotify and that kind of stuff. But man, I used to love get a soundtrack of a game, and especially if it was a great game and great soundtrack, and you just pop that in and just be.
Now you got to rip it into an MP3 and put it on your.
And that was one thing I loved about this special edition, which is Assassin's Creed Black Flag. The statue is fantastic, and it came with the soundtrack. I think because I listened to that soundtrack repeatedly. I loved it. It's I'm a sucker for statues, so I have my Batman. These are all just always on my desk. And this, you mentioned a Halo special edition earlier. This
holy crap! Is it from Reach?
Still one of my favorites. This is from Halo Reach.
Nice.
It's got the full team.
That's
it
pretty
is badass.
spit.
It is,
folks.
amazing.
If you're listening and not watching, you definitely should watch. But that is a hunk of plastic, Mark. Holy cow! It's a chunky boy.
And I'm such a sucker for statues that I wasn't I played this game and I liked it, but I wasn't love this game so much I need the special edition. But it went on sale and I bought it because how can you say no to a giant Captain
That's
America?
The Avengers. That's the most recent Avengers game, Captain America. Yeah, it's actually a good looking representation of Cap. Did you break
Someone's
it?
throwing stuff.
I may have just broken my absolute favorite special edition of all time. So here we go. These are working night vision goggles
No.
from
Call of Duty.
Modern Warfare, Call of
That's
Duty, Modern
awesome.
Warfare 2, the original Modern Warfare 2. These ones are really, really special to me. I'm going to put them down before I break them again. So not only was I super happy to get finally a working pair of night vision goggles that I wanted since I was a kid and saw the first Jurassic Park movie, and was like, I need night vision goggles. But
or Buffalo Bob from Silence of the Lambs.
Not so much a childhood desire of mine, Todd.
Sorry, that's what I think of. I just saw that thing. It's like, oh yeah, that's creepy. Yeah.
Like where your head goes, mine goes to Tim in Jurassic Park playing with the expensive toys. But yep. All right. So, but not only did that special edition just like fulfill that childhood dream, but I also got it the day I asked the person that is now my wife to just like be my girlfriend. So that was fun. And I actually asked her in the lineup. I was texting her back and forth because I was out in Alberta and she was here. And we had gone on a few dates before I started traveling for work again. I was like, let's just kind of make this official. Let's make it Facebook official. Like, let's do this. So the funny thing about that, it was a midnight launch. And since home here is 3 hours ahead of Alberta, out where Sean is, we had an argument over when our anniversary was for years before we got married. And obviously we were in the same time zone when we got married, but our dating official anniversary was either November 9th or 10th, depending on who you asked, because she was up past midnight and I was waiting in line for stupid night vision goggles at 10 or 11 p.m. still on the 9th. So that was fun. We had a two-day anniversary for quite a while.
It makes for a fun conversation story, though.
I think so. And it was also the day that I got the news that my grandfather was cancer-free. So it was like a wicked day all around. So yeah, that's a day that like just lives rent-free in my memory for like all times. It was good. So they're like some of my favorite worst special collector's edition. See, because I don't tend to get them when I don't think they're great. One I should have grabbed actually, and she's just right up there, which is why I didn't. She sits above my for anyone that doesn't know, I record in my kitchen, and she sits above my fridge at all times, and that's Rabbid Peach from the first Mario Rabbids collector's edition. So that she's just right there staring at me, and I can't really. I'm not going to go get her right now, but I should have actually after I was talking about the sequel and how much I love it. But I'm trying to think of some bad ones. And I'm not.
I can tell you some bad ones.
On a huge
I can too.
Yeah. Okay, you guys go.
You first, Todd.
Okay, I'm going to talk about special editions that don't include the damn game. Not a disc, not a code, nothing. Battlefield 1 did not include the game. What's the point? Recore did not include the game. That is like a cardinal sin.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, it's dumb. It's like, well, how can we charge you more? I get it, collectibles from it. Like I own the Mass Effect helmet, the Shepherd's helmet. Mm-hmm. I love it. It wasn't part of the game. It was just they BioWare sold it separately. I bought it because I'm a fool, and I put it on occasionally and turn on the lights, and I'm like, that's very nice. I want to put it back on the shelf. But when you don't include the game with your collector, like it's like, what are you doing?
What? So I got to play devil's advocate. What? So if they included the game and the price was up, whatever, $60, $70 or whatever it is, like, would you still go to that collector? Again, thinking back to the Zelda special edition, if that game was $70 cheaper and I had the choice at that point to buy it physical or digital and then buy a separate collector's package or whatever you want, a celebration edition or something for the case and all the other goodies it came with, I might have opted for that. Like save the money and spend it digital. You know what I mean? Like if it's not coming in a special case, the game itself, like a steelbook or something like that, like does it? I don't know. Like I'm sure.
Well, a lot of the games now come with just a digital code because they can't send you especially because now we have the PS5 and the PS5 digital. They can't send you the
Series
game
S,
and the code because then they're giving you 2 games for the cost of 1. So now everything comes with a steel case and a digital code. So it still comes with the game. But it doesn't make any sense for a special edition to not include a game in any way, whether it's a physical or a digital version of that game.
I think the biggest negative is you order it and you think you get the game, right?
Yeah.
That's
right. They have to be clear up front. Yeah.
It's like special editions of consoles. Like I always think of like Nintendo's special edition Switches. You don't get the game with those. They just look pretty. They don't include the game, which I always feel like
my brother just got the one the OLED with for the Pokemon OLED, and no game.
It's very weird, but I think I get it. If you just want the thing and you want to buy the game the way you want, I like that flexibility. I just think it's weird, and it seems like an odd case. I was thinking about one that I got that's pretty awesome. Love it. It's from Wolfenstein. This one's crazy.
I love that one.
It's like a little Ken doll. Like he's got his claws, he's got a little leather jacket, which is kind of
awesome.
He comes with a bunch of guns, and it's great.
Working action figure.
It is, and it's like 12 inches tall, like the original G.I. Joes.
Ken instead of an old school G.I. Joe is why I love you, Todd.
I grew up with an older sister who had Donnie and Marie Barbies, so that's kind of what I went.
My best friend growing up was a girl. My G.I. Joes played with her Barbies. I had like dolls hanging out with my action figures. No worries. No toxic masculinity.
Or was it your dolls hanging with her action figures?
Oh, look, we were talking about today. My son was up playing. Like we were visiting some family last weekend.
Oh, that's awesome.
My son was walking around with a baby doll in a stroller. My mother-in-law wants to get him. I was like, give her. I had a Cabbage Patch doll growing up. Like, I don't care, whatever. Zero. I just love that that's where Todd went with that instead of like,
I mean, if Ken,
like G.I. Joe's.
This is like, I can't show it with my background, but it's the Terrorbilly edition, which was great. And if Ken had a weapon like this, I mean, if you can see it, that gun, I mean, Ken would be that much cooler. I mean, that's what he's really missing on, like the Ken with the Kung Fu grip. But just stuff like that, it's so unthinkable that you would think, oh, Wolfenstein, it's so adult. But here's a fully posable doll with clothes. Because it's not an action figure, really. It's really more like a doll, like But I love things like that. And it's the one I always felt like I missed out was the South Park, what is it? Separate Butthole.
Mm-hmm.
They had a Cartman as the was he the coon?
The wizard?
The coon. He was like like the superheroes. But he had like a little tricycle. You could buy one. You could buy one that was like huge. I'm like, I really wanted it, but I never got it. So I have a lot of regrets with collector's editions because I wanted them, and then when they're gone, and they end up being like 3 times as expensive.
Yeah. I actually got I got the Wolfenstein and like the Avengers one that I showed like for basically clearance prices. Like they were rock bottom. I ended up giving away the Avengers game because I already owned it, like the standard edition or whatever. And I gave away the disc that came with that special edition. And I think I did the same thing with Wolfenstein because like I just wanted I wanted that action figure. I wanted the statue, whatever. Like it was just like they were. Again, going back to that point, like I didn't want the game that came with the thing. Like I just wanted the other stuff. And it was great that they went on like clearance prices, and it's fun. But again, when you miss those, you miss them either first time around or you're like, oh, I'll wait for the clearance price, and that never happens. It's so frustrating.
The one that made me laugh was the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinity, which was the most recent version of the fighting game. It came with Infinity Stones, and they look really cool in the actual package you got. But it was like those little Easter eggs that you get for your kids that are plastic. So they weren't actually Infinity Stones. They were like the cheapest thing you could put in there. And it was just a biggest regret of everybody. Everything was cool. I'm like, nope, those aren't Infinity Stones, folks. Those are just Easter eggs with no goodies inside.
Oh, no.
Yeah, bad idea.
That's disappointing.
Yeah. So when when all three of us want a collector's edition, what do you want in a collector's edition? What really is worth your money?
Carly, you want to take this one?
So real quick before I get into that though, because you were asking about bad collector's editions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We are very, very much curate the things we collect. And so yes, we have a big collection back here, but these are like super special editions, books we love. Like we're not just collecting things. And I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. I have read them since I was a little girl. You know, it was like midnight release. My parents would buy 2 copies because one was mine and one was for the rest of the family. So Harry Potter, and still love the main franchise. It's some of the best books there was so much good that came from those for me in my life. Hogwarts Legacy, so stoked for that game. Collector's edition, not getting. That is probably one of the worst collector's editions I've seen, because I think it's like 200 or 250 for a levitating plastic wand over a plastic book. It's not even like it's a real tome or a, you know, something that I could like flip through some pages and read some magic lore or something. That's it. And then like some like digital content as well. You get like a couple of robes or something like that. And those don't mean much to me. So that was 100%. I was like, not getting it, unfortunately. Had they done something, I like things that look good and also have some items that have purpose. So in the Jotnar edition, and also in the whatever was it, just collectors?
The collectors, yeah.
Collectors, okay. There's a set of dice. That's actually useful for a lot of people. And maybe they don't end up using that set of dice, but that's actually a useful item. And the cloth bag is really nice. It keeps it contained. There's a ring, which I'm excited for you to learn what that ring is, Todd.
Oh.
That ring is actually important in the game. So this ring, which also fits into Norse mythology, that's a lot of fun because it's like, you know, I could wear that as like part of a cosplay or something, even though it's way too big for my fingers. And then they have a couple of things that I'm like, I don't really need. Like there's a steel case, which looks neat, but I don't really need it. And then there's also a 7-inch plastic vinyl in the Jotnar edition. It's like, great, I don't know where I'm going to play this.
I bet there's collectors that would love that vinyl once it goes on sale, Carly.
I'm going to be making a display case for it because I have this cute layout for like a wooden acrylic
nice
display case for vinyls and stuff. So I'm going to make that. And then the Mjolnir, right? It's like that's also a usable cosplay item.
Absolutely.
So I like my things to look cool and also have some usability to them. So had the Hogwarts Legacy edition came with, I don't know, a fanatic robe, like I'm getting in the game, I would have been 100% all over that.
That's a good idea. A robe would not be that expensive and be kind of cool. And
and especially
$30
the fanatic one that you get if you connect your account to your Pottermore account, then you know you get that in the game. You get to wear it when you're playing in the game.
You could be a Jedi. You could be it could be a Jedi mark or a part of the Hogwarts.
And it gives you that 4 special editions that you could get. I mean, like, you know, pick your house and get your special edition, right?
And that becomes even more exciting. And my husband and I were talking about how like J.K. Rowling with the houses was probably what drew people in the most. People are like, where do I fit into this world? And it just made that sense of connection, right? So even
the hat would have been a good idea, right?
The hat. Shoot, like give me the sorting hat, which I know the sorting hat exists in how many different places and how many different forms, but give me the one for Legacy, or Legend Legacy. Yeah, it's Legacy. And you know, so and we've got collector's edition. So we've got the Forbidden West Regala edition, which came with the bigger Tremor tusk and a bunch of different awesome things. And there's actually a wearable focus.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and
cosplay,
you can push the button and it lights up, and then it turns off after about 10 seconds. But that became a usable and also kind of a fun display piece. I like functional, pretty things. these leather bounds, yes, they are leather bound, but it's faux leather, and it's also meant to be read. Probably won't ever actually read the books from them because I have them all in hardcover, but these can be read. So yes, they're beautiful, but they are functional books. So they're not just there for show. And I mean, I even have like ye old Harry Potter and Hermione dolls down here. Like I had those when I was like 7 or 8 or whatever. So like, I don't know. There's just something nice about dualities when it comes to my collector's editions. We also have downstairs, we have Aloy statue from Zero Dawn. We have Spider-Man statue from the Spider-Man game. And then everything came with the steel case. The one that I missed out on, that I wish I hadn't missed out on, since I want to talk about that real quick too, was the Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War.
Oh, yeah.
They did a special edition that just came with the ring. It was just the silver ring with the blue markings. You can't find that anywhere now. Like, I've tried. I haven't tried in the last few months. Maybe something's changed. So, and I have, because actually my wedding ring is getting resized, so I'm wearing my one ring right now. But I would totally be changing these out. Like, I'd have a silver and I'd have a gold, and I'd change it based on what I'm wearing for the day, right? Like, that would just make sense. So that's the one I missed out on, which was so dumb because it was like $20 to get the ring, and I was like, no. That was also when we were like really poor, so I was like, $20 is a lot.
Yep.
So
sometimes that can be a make or break. So it sucks, but yeah.
But definitely for me, it's usability and quality too. This thing is dang heavy. This thing is properly heavy.
Yes.
Like, this weight, unfortunately, weight implies quality, which is often why I try to work a little bit more weight into some of my wood products, because heft kind of makes people think, ooh, this is solid. This is high quality. Like, even this ring, this is a metal ring, and so it feels good.
There's no seams in this, which is great. There's no seams. It's not like two pieces coming together. There's no seams. And my wife like held it and she goes, that feels pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah. This is so cool.
It's very cool. Yeah, and I love every version of Thor because I'm Norwegian. I love all that. And by the way, recommendation, read Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology. It's excellent.
Norse mythology itself is so whack, and I love it.
It's great. It's great. So, Mark, I was going to ask you, because we've got a Star Wars game coming out soon. What would you love to have in that edition of the Next Jedi game?
Oh, yeah.
Fallen Order.
So the Fallen Order sequel?
Yes. What would you want to have that in that collector's edition?
Give me a BD-1 statue.
Oh, really? I thought you went more of a lightsaber or something like that, but a BB-1. Very cool.
I mean, it's easy to say Cal's lightsaber, and they do a fantastic recreation of Cal's lightsaber in Galaxy's Edge. Disney has done a really good representation of it. There are other lightsaber manufacturers that do either great or budget versions of Cal's lightsabers, and I've seen them everywhere, from hundreds and hundreds of dollars to like the kind of low budget, like it's all one piece of metal to kind of look like Cal's lightsaber, but like you kind of have to paint it yourself kind of thing. But I like kind of a higher quality looking lightsaber, and I'm scared for a special edition that would just have a
plastic,
like a floating wand on a plastic book, kind of version of Cal's lightsaber is what I don't want.
Holocron floating.
Ooh, a metal, like an actual metal holocron though. Like, how sick would that be?
That'd
and
be
it's got like
amazing.
magnets so you could like turn it and stuff. Like,
awesome.
Even that.
Yeah.
A holochronicle?
A holochronicle. Especially where the holocron played such a big part in the first game. I think a holocron special edition would be awesome. Really, there's some really cool stuff, but I love BDs, one of my instant favorite droids. And I have the Cal Kestis like action figure kind of, thing. And it came with a tiny, tiny little BD, and there's like a Lego BD one, but I've yet to see like a good solid, like I'm talking like that. I don't know. Like I'd like something this big,
almost like the Borderlands character.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Yeah.
I'd take that. So I'm gonna say BD1.
Nice.
I know
Well,
that BD1 statues kind of already exist, but they are, I mean, they're small and they're kind of plasticky and stuff like that. But yeah, like, shoot, I had honestly forgotten. Like, there's so many games that have been coming out and are coming out that I was like, oh, I totally forgot about Fallen Order 2, which is like, what, Survivor or something like that?
Yeah, Survivor.
Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
And I missed out on I missed out on all of the Arkham statues, which was a big miss on my end. So I would love a great Batman piece. So if we ever get that again, I'm not sure when the next Batman game is coming out. Mark showed me his Batman, and he looked awesome. A little jealous there. I'm looking forward to that.
Sorry, bud.
Yeah, which
That's
one was that?
That's kind of what my
from, Mark?
Spider-Man one is. He's in the same
Exactly.
pose.
Yeah, I love those. I love those iconic statues, and that's where I'm more going to statues with my own.
This one's
collection.
from Arkham City.
Oh, very nice. Well, very good. So we're going to end though on what would be in your own personal collector's edition. So if Carly had a collector's edition that said, "I am Carly. This is what you get with me," what would be in it?
A replica statue of a laser cutter machine, probably.
But not working.
No, it's not a working one. It's just one of those solid metal. It's basically a paperweight, which becomes the joke too because desktop laser machines, so kind of non-industrial, but more like for hobbyists. Anytime one of those breaks, people call them just a $5,000 paperweight. So then that's the joke, is that you have an industrial miniatured one, but it's actually a paperweight. That would be like the centerpiece item.
Nice.
And then like a subscription for 1 year to Adobe Creative Cloud so you can create stuff, because I use it all the time. So you get so those two things. Probably a book of bad parent jokes, because I love puns. Puns are my humor. And a shiny, sparkly pin and a set of stickers, probably, because I have an unhealthy habit for pins. And stickers seem to be in everything, so I guess y'all get stickers.
There you go. Yeah. Love it. Yeah. If you don't have stickers in your collector's edition, what are you even doing? Or
right?
coasters?
Like, gosh, clearly thinking something wrong.
Mark, what would be in your collector's edition?
Mine would also include stickers for sure, of some of my favorite things like Pokemon and lightsabers and Jedi symbols and stuff. But the main centerpiece of my collector's edition would be a large bottle of dark rum. And as you drank the rum, as you finished
21 plus, huh?
Yeah. Well, 18 or 19 in Canada.
No, 16
or 18
in Mexico,
in some places.
16 in Mexico. And
there you go.
We can keep going down if you want.
North American edition. check your age where appropriate.
Exactly. So dark rum, but as you drink it, you realize that there's something in the bottle, and it's just a tiny statue of me giving you the finger. But you can't see it because the rum is dark until you actually finish the bottle. And then it's a statue in a bottle, and
you can't get it out.
And you can't get it out. No, it's built into the rum bottle.
So it's like the ship in the bottle.
Exactly. It's a ship in a bottle, but it's a mark in a bottle. And maybe just a thumbs up, so it's not quite as aggressive. So it's just me kind of giving
more
a thumbs up,
Mark.
Yeah, congratulations, you finished a bottle of rum. Good job.
You got to fit into the Canadian stereotypes. You can't just go around flipping people off. You're supposed to be
right. Yeah, so we'll go with the thumbs up.
Sorry if you got a hangover.
Maybe because we all know Canadians are just liars. Maybe you have your other hand behind your back, and that's
true.
That's getting ready to flip you the bird. But yeah, so that little mini statue of me inside the rum bottle, that is then, your ship in a bottle kind of display piece afterwards. So you get to enjoy the rum and then enjoy my statue.
Mark, if that little statue, you better be wearing a Tyrannosaurus Rex costume.
Oh, yes. I like it. I like it.
Or better
And then,
yet,
of course,
it's a
it comes
Ken
with-
doll version that comes with a
Yes, there you go.
costume.
That you can put on.
Nice and soggy from the rum. Yes,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
perfect.
Exactly. Yeah.
Everyone wants a soggy little mark on their mantle.
And if you drank it, you might get some type of disease, unfortunately.
More than likely, yes.
Because it's probably the figure is made in China and it's made of like lead.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't thought this through. So it also comes with a $200 sports car and a fridge that fits 1 can of Diet Pepsi.
And a coupon to Timbits is expired.
Oh, yeah, Timbits would be fantastic. I wanted Timbits today and I didn't stop to get them, so maybe tomorrow. Okay, Todd, what's yours?
Oh boy. So it's going to have one of those like insult generators that you push the button. Like it's going to like make farts, and it's also going to like say bad dad jokes, so that'll be one thing. Cause you got to have that cause that's fun. And it's going to have like the most 90s alt soundtrack that comes with it, but it's only, you have to rip it onto, you need a disk drive. You can rip it onto your MP3. So it's going to be a CD because
Does it come
we
with
don't.
the MP3?
Actually, it's like in a format that you can't even convert anymore.
And then like a folded up paper that has all the instructions on how to do it easily, and it says
Exactly.
on the front, go ahead and toss this. You don't need these instructions.
Only for Windows 95. It's like it only supports that platform, and it's also like it's like it only supports like 33 minutes or something, like some weird like we only do 33 minutes. So that's what's going to be on there first of all. So then you're going to get along with that, you're going to get a passport to local craft breweries, but they're only available in a 90-mile radius of where I currently live. So sorry, folks. That's the other part. And the other part is you're going to get a fantasy football app that is going to only give you bad draft picks. I think that's along with it. And also a keychain, but the keychain is too tight and it actually won't fit on your other keys. So it's really just a keychain that you can hold. That makes sense?
I clearly need to rethink my box.
I think yours was so well thought out and so fantastic, and mine was just a troll, and Todd's is just, I hate everything. Like, none of this works.
It's me, Mark. It's me. A keychain that doesn't work. I gave my son a keychain for his birthday. He's like, I'm not going to use it.
Is it like an acrylic outcast of you, like on the keychain as well?
No, it's going to be one of those. It's going to be like the one I have currently on it. It's like, it says, it's like Zelda, like use this, to go on, whatever he says, use this going. But it actually is so faded and like has watermarks inside. You can't even see what it says anymore. It's like it's like unreadable. It's like it said something at one time.
This may or may not actually be from the 90s.
Exactly. It might be from the exclusive Todd collection. I bought my son a Persona 5 keychain. Mm-hmm. He's not going to put keys on it. That's where I am as a dad.
Is that why you asked about the shoes?
Yes.
Because yes, my shoes come in tomorrow, and yes, I am wearing those.
Harley's getting Pokemon shoes from Puma, and I'm like, are you going to wear those? Because they're sneakerheads that only put their shoes away and never wear them. So
no. See, again, though, that comes with the whole collector thing. I want it to look good, and
you need
usable.
miniature shoes. You need miniature shoes in your collector's edition that you can only put on your fingers.
Yeah.
And you can walk like that.
Oh, and it comes with one of those skateboards that we all had as kids.
Exactly, the flips things.
They're still around. I was surprised. I saw those advertised like a couple of weeks ago. I was like, these things exist like still? That's amazing.
They still do.
Beyblades.
30 years of like finger kick flips and stuff. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh well, folks. If you want our collector's edition, we're going to do a Kickstarter for those. We'll see how that goes. Yes. So very, very
funny,
good.
Though, if I can just say real quick, which you say that like it's a joke, except next year starts the year of Sanderson, which Brandon Sanderson, my favorite author, is doing a year of Sanderson subscription boxes that he kickstarted with his secret project books that he wrote that nobody knew he was writing. So every month is a new thing based on the book series that he has written, and every third first, fourth, etc., you get one of the books as well. So it's book, box, box, book, box, box. So yes, it is the year of Sanderson. So you may joke about this, but subscription boxes of yourself can be a thing.
People are dying for my collector's edition, I think.
Yes. You got to go scrounge out all your old keychains now.
Exactly. Mark, start getting those Timbit coupons. Expire coupons.
Look out for Mark's box. That sounds wrong. Look out for Mark package. No. Jeez.
The Carnerdian
collector
box.
Something. I'm going to stop talking now.
We'll think this. We'll think this out.
Markscape. Yeah. Jesus.
Markscape. The beard box. Yeah.
This is escalating quickly.
It is. So this is the perfect time to transition out of the show because you can't take any more of this. I know we can, but obviously we don't want to hurt our guests.
Jeez.
So Carly, tell people where they can find you around the web.
You can find my YouTube as scarletstream.com. You can find me on Twitter, scarlet_stream, because Twitter's stupid and doesn't let me reclaim an old handle. You can also just find me on, I don't know, just pretty much anywhere. Go to my Twitter and you'll find my link that tells you where everything else is.
Perfect. Well, thank you for joining us after a year. We are going to hear more from you in the year of 2023 with Secret Friends Unite. So we cannot wait. So with that, Mark, how can people find you?
You can find me everywhere at _Canardian. That's like Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, or TikTok, wherever you want to find me. That's where I'm at, and hanging out in the Secret Friends Unite Discord.
Perfect. At Toxtra, I'm currently 7-3 in my fantasy football league, so that may change the next time we record. But you know what? At this point, I'm having a blast on Twitter with all our friends, having a good time, enjoying podcasting with awesome people. If you want to be on a Secret Friends Unite podcast, reach out to me, Mark, whoever may be, and we want to have you on. I just podcast with Josiah, Martinez mostly, as you know him, and we had a great discussion about Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So please listen to that, and just check out Secret Friends Unite at Secret Friends U and secretfriendsunite.com. There we go. We had a journey. We covered all the things in the world of nerd and video games. I hope you all stayed along for the ride. We had a good time. Carly, Mark, thank you again. And as always, it's always better to game together.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.